Was speaking at a press conference following the G7 ministerial in Tokyo, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Bilnken reacted to Israeli Prime Minister's plans for Gaza after the war has ended. Bilnken called on Israel to not reoccupy Gaza once the war ended with Hamas. This comes a day after the U.S. President Joe Biden also urged Israel to allow humanitarian pauses in Gaza amid mounting worldwide criticism.
The United States believes key elements should include no forcible displacement of Palestinians from Gaza, not now, not after the war. No use of Gaza as a platform for terrorism or other violent attacks. No reoccupation of Gaza after the conflict ends. No attempt to blockade or besiege Gaza. No reduction in the territory of Gaza.
Earlier, Netanyahu had said that Israel will keep the security responsibility for Gaza after the war. It is the clearest indication yet that Israel plans to maintain control over the Palestinian enclave. While giving an interview to an American news channel, Netanyahu justified his comments, saying it was the lack of Israeli security responsibility that led to the Hamas attack on October 7th. Bilnken was speaking with the reporters after the G7 foreign ministers meet in Japan, where the foreign ministers supported humanitarian pauses and corridors. However, the leaders failed to call for a ceasefire. The foreign ministers also warned Iran to not escalate tensions in the region and stop supporting groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. Meanwhile, Bilnken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin will also be traveling to India to hold talks this week. Officials claim the two leaders will focus on security challenges in the Indo-Pacific and concerns over China at the 2+2 ministerial. The two countries are also working on various deals, which include supply of engines for Indian fighter jets and the US-made MQ-9 Predator drones and semiconductor manufacturing.
We're also working to shape a more inclusive international system, bringing more voices to the table here at the G7, as for example with today's meeting with Central Asian partners. Later today, I'll travel to the Republic of Korea and then on to India, two of our most important partners in the Indo-Pacific.
And for more on this, we spoke earlier to Chris Gilbert from Tokyo.
G7 is reasonably proud of itself, at least that's what Foreign Minister of Japan Yoko Kamikawa says, for getting everyone on the same page, at least when it comes to responding to this conflict. That wasn't always the case, because Japan and France, up until this point, favoured a truce in the conflict, and that has softened now, much bending around the US position of a humanitarian pause. As we heard in the intro just then, there was a condemnation of the military wing of militant wing of Hamas for the October 7th attack, and a general consensus that a humanitarian pause is needed from here to get vital assistance into the people of Palestine. And there was a general vague gesture to the international law that should be maintained, not really any specifics around that coming from Japan's foreign minister anyway, in terms of who is breaching international law and how. And there's also no promises yet that that humanitarian pause is going to come.